Hello everybody, it's the 808 State from the Big Island of Hawaii. Today I want to talk to you about my first impressions about this Autel Evo II Pro and the do's, don'ts, and my first experiences. Stay tuned. What's up everybody? I appreciated you guys checking in. I got myself a $2,500 drone. $2,500, why? Because it has 4 batteries, 4 of these huge 7100 milliampere batteries. It has a charging hub with that battery, which is right here charging at this point. It can charge all 4 batteries at the same time. What are my first impressions of this thing? It is a massive drone. It is way bigger than my Anafi. It's way heavier than my Anafi. The blades alone are like intimidating. My first maiden flight, I thought I would be doing right out of the box. Nope. Why? Because you have to run updates, like plenty updates. Apparently, when I started up this drone, you have to check the firmware first. You gotta make sure that everything else is connected to whatever it is. It is a challenge because out of the box, you're not gonna be able to fly this drone without updating the batteries, without updating the flight data, without updating all the software and firmware that it comes with. At this point, I believe it's 2.23, and let me tell you, that was a journey on its own. I had to call customer service probably 45 minutes after I got the drone, and they're super fast. They answered the phone right away, and it's actually the same person that I called 3 times that answered. Thank you very much, Taylor. I appreciate it. So Taylor told me that because my drone was not connecting to my controller after the first firmware update, there is a button on the side over here after you open up this cover, and with that button you gotta hold and press it, and then you gotta hold and press on the controller the power button and the home button at the same time. Wait until the controller starts up, and it will match and pair the drone and the controller again. Now, if the firmware did not go through, this drone was beeping for nearly an hour and a half updating. Why is it beeping like that? I mean, a couple times I can understand, but that constant beeping part, and I never had, every single time I started this drone up like this, I was waiting for that sound, and it wasn't giving it to me, and I was getting frustrated. I was getting really mad, and I was like thinking to myself, this is out of the box and I can't fly it. So after 4 hours of updating firmware, I actually had to manually download the firmware from the website, which was pretty easy. It's easy to find. You just Google Autel Evo II Pro firmware and it shows up right off the bat. Then you have to put a USB stick in the back of this controller, and you have to also put that firmware onto a micro SD card to put it on the side in here, and apparently it updates everything. You will not see an update on this drone. You will never be able to tell if this drone was updated or not. It only goes by this controller, and it's kind of a hassle on those things. It's something that I didn't like because I was sitting here for nearly 4 hours straight updating batteries and updating because you have to do the update for every single battery. So if you're bold as me and buy 4 at a time, right out of the box, you gotta update first. So be prepared to update right after you buy it. Once all that stuff was done, it was great. I was like ready to go. We started going, and when we did, I realized that the obstacle avoidance on this is super aggressive. Like literally, I mean, I've seen it before. People mentioned it, that it stops you like 10 to 20 feet prior, and it slowly inches up, it creeps up. Well, if it is already in an area that you want to fly up and you have obstacles, or you standing behind the drone by like 5 to 6, 7 feet, she will not move at all unless there's room towards the front or towards the side. So you literally have to go straight up. I like the obstacle avoidance on some part, especially if I can't see it, but it's super aggressive. So I wish there would be an option within the app itself to determine how far the obstacle avoidance will reach. So you can kind of like limit your stuff. I believe the reason why they made it so aggressive is if you change it to max speed, the ludicrous mode, which starts at 33 miles per hour, and then you can actually update it to 45, or you can change it to 45 miles per hour. This drone is so heavy, it's a boat in the air. When you fly and you just get off the throttle, she easily flies 20 feet before she even stops. So yeah, I believe that's the reason why they made the obstacle avoidance so aggressive. On the other hand, it's really good because you don't want to sink a $2,500 drone straight into the wall or into the ground or into the ocean or whatever it is. It is really good. Once you put it into ludicrous mode, be careful because all the obstacle avoidance will be off. And that brings me to the next point. No flight restrictions whatsoever. And on the Anafi, at least, it gave me a 495 feet geofence, so I couldn't go any higher than that, which is pretty good. I wish I could have flown higher. This, on the other hand, gives me 2,625 feet. That's plenty. So you have to be really, really, really responsible with this drone because you're gonna be outside of the limitations that FAA gives us as a drone pilot. Please be very careful when you do this because you have to imagine, yeah, you might be just going straight up in the air above you, but if there is air traffic up there and you are 2,000 feet up in the air, this drone takes about 5 minutes to get back down to the ground. It takes seconds for that aircraft to come to you. So please, please be very responsible. Be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of where flight routes might be at. If there's no air traffic whatsoever in your area, okay, then you might be safe, but you'll never know. I mean, we have military aircrafts that will not tell everybody where they will be going. That's why they're the military, right? So be careful with that. I love the range on this thing. I brought it out. I actually flew this sucker 11,650 feet in distance. And that was way past my comfort zone, way past. And I was like, oh my God. And then the scary moment happened. My controller just turned off. My phone just turned off. And I just was like, what the hell? So my S10 Plus just decided to just restart. For whatever reason, it keeps doing it over and over, like sporadically. I haven't found out the reason for it now, why, but it's pretty much like when it's hooked up to my controller like this, and it just simply goes into restart mode. And this is pretty much how you hook it up. There's another thing. There's two slots down there. One is a USB slot, and one is the micro USB slot. The micro USB slot is where this wire goes that goes to a USB-C to your phone. The first time I tried it, my phone couldn't pair up with the controller, and I was wondering why. You have to start up the controller first and then plug in the wire once the controller is fully up in order for the app to connect to your phone. So at least that's with my S10 Plus. The other USB plug-in over there is probably for the manual update. If you download the software, the firmware, whatever it is. So once my phone restarted and the whole picture went out, I got scared because now when my phone came back up and on the controller it showed that my drone is returning home, she still was recording, but she was like about 10,000 feet away from me. And I was like, oh my goodness. And I was up in 455 feet and I was hoping that it was coming back to me because it was my maiden flight. And well, not really the maiden flight, but the maiden flight progress. I had a maiden flight with one battery first around my surroundings. I used the second battery for that, and the second battery was like halfway depleted, and I used the third for that range test that I just wanted to try out. I didn't want to push it too far. Signal was still good, and it states in the manual and even in the program itself that you're supposed to move these antennas down. When I move these down, for some reason, I don't have as much as if I point them up. But if I have them pointed up, I'm losing signal on my video feed, so it's really choppy. So if I put it back down, then apparently it gets better, but the range ain't that great. And that brings me to this weirdo controller. The controller is way different from what I'm used to with my Anafi, of course, but I don't know, this these handles right here, they still move. I have pretty big hands, and why are these two buttons down here? Like literally, if you try to grasp this, I keep pressing these buttons. I haven't figured out the functions for it yet, but it's really annoying. Like you hear click click, and you're like, oh, what happened? And you're like, okay. The controller could be a tad bit bigger, a little bit. These buttons over here, they're okay. I mean, you can take pictures, you can start your video, stop your video, you can move the gimbal up and down. That's all cool. And what I really like about this, I actually don't have to, this clamp is really strong. So if you use just the phone like I do, because I can't afford an iPad right now, but if you have a phone with a case on it, like, where's my case? Oh. Like this case right here, which is like the Autel, almost similar to the Autel case, like half an Autel case. But even with an Autel case, you wouldn't have to take your phone out of the Autel case, which is really cool. Bad part is though, that this USB-C has this rubber stamp around it. And if you have an Autel case, the USB-C is not long enough, so it won't fit in there. So it fits in here, but it doesn't fit for the wire. Bummer. The handles on this thing, on the other hand, they're like these two folded. I thought actually that they open up wider, but they're like really loose. Like I don't know. Like when I grab it, and I mean, you're flying $2,000 in the air. You don't want to crash it, and you sometimes get kind of, and you get that moment. So yeah, a little bit more. I don't know. It would be cooler. I mean, yeah, it's for fold in and all that stuff, but nobody really wants to use it. So you could technically leave it open, because even a controller like this, if it's a solid base, it's almost like driving a convertible. I hate convertibles, so I rather prefer the hardtop. So if this would be one piece that is a little bit bigger, it would be way better. It would lay better in your hands, because I have just two fingers here and it's already taking up the room. Plus these two weirdo buttons underneath here that are really annoying that I keep pressing. Nothing really happened while I was flying it, but yeah. So other than that, personal first impression, the footage is so much better. Like, I only can compare it to my Anafi, because my Anafi was what I usually always used for my videos. If you look at this footage and you look at the Anafi footage is 4K footage for some reason, because the sensor is way smaller, and camera quality wise, I mean, the Anafi is 2 years old now. This thing is brand spanking new. Of course, it's supposed to be better, but this is a 1-inch sensor, 6K. And I haven't been even filming with 6K yet. I tried the 4K just to get a feel for it and a comparison. I played around with the settings, for the manual settings, with white balance and ISO and shutter speed and all the weirdo things that are like really cool. And it's amazing how great this stuff comes out. It looks literally 3D. My pictures, my images that come out from this, the videos that I make, it looks almost like when you're watching it on a regular screen, like a laptop, it looks like almost like 3D. It's so cool. It's super nice. The flight time is enormous. Like, I actually had to grab me a chair and sit down, because I was in the air already over an hour, and you get really exhausted flying around, being nervous about $2,000 of equipment in the air, hoping that it doesn't come down, hoping that it doesn't hit nobody, hoping that it doesn't crash anywhere, hoping that you don't have a flyaway, that it goes anywhere. It's really cool. The drone itself is super solid. I like how you can just take off these blades and then probably exchange them for whatever. It came with extra blades, so I haven't even played around with this, but it feels super sturdy. Like, even the gimbal part and stuff. This is kind of a scary part though. I know that if I ever really have a crash and this thing comes down, I think it's good that the battery's in the back, because it might tilt the drone backwards trying to fall down onto the ground. But hey, this thing is going to be in my bag, definitely. This is something. This is state-of-the-art technology. It's really good. It can actually carry 1,100 grams of weight, which is good, because I don't have it here. But I actually did put a mount on the top over here, and I extended it with a long rod to have my 360 footage on top. That's probably the footage that you're seeing right now. And yeah, I really enjoyed this drone. She's a little bit on the iffy side. If you fly it, it looks kind of weird, because it's the extra weight, and I think it exceeds the weight capacity by probably about 150 grams. You can tell the 150 grams. The rotors and the motors are trying to compensate for it, but I wouldn't suggest to exceed the weight too much. Probably I'm going to take off that extension rod and just mount the camera right in the center somewhere on the top. It didn't interfere with my obstacle avoidance, at least not on the top part. On the bottom part, I'm not quite sure. There's like so many sensors underneath. There's the sensors on the side over here. And I'm telling you, this thing is so heavy. It's so solid too, like sturdy. Like it's built really, really, really strong. And the same with the arms, it feels super high quality. We got hooked up by DroneWorks. I mean, I pre-ordered this bad boy back then when it was supposed to be released back in February. Everybody's waiting for it. And yeah, I was anxiously waiting for it. And then COVID-19 happened, of course. And with all that, all the deliveries were delayed. Then we had all this rioting and protesting and all that stuff. And I was thinking to myself, oh my God, this is going to take forever. It's going to be by next year that I get this drone. Well, I got it. And I'm super excited, super stoked. It's a great drone. Yeah, besides that awkward controller looking thing and the heavy feel of the drone even in the air, you kind of like have to plan your flights way better. You have a lot of menu options that I haven't explored yet. And hey, you want to pick up a drone and you want to save up for a drone, the Autel Evo II Pro is definitely the way to go with. I looked at some of original Dobos footage for the 8K. I'm not really a big fan of the 8K. It just doesn't appear right. This footage that you see once in a while blended in over here on this video is all not graded. I did not color grade that at all. I just literally used the manual functions of this thing. Never had to color grade nothing. Everything was rendered in 4K. I tried the difference between 4K 60 FPS and 4K 24 FPS. So 24 FPS is less forgiving. So you have to literally plan your shots really good and you have to fly really, really good. One thing that bothers me about this control on this is the settings that you can't really control the smoothness or set the settings in the smoothness of the control of the drone. With my Anafi, I could have multiple presets that I could set up that were easily accessible. With this one, once in a while, I have to go on the top right with my phone into the settings, select ludicrous mode, punch in 45 miles per hour, and then go back out and return. It's not really a hassle, but it's kind of uncomfortable having to do that. And yeah, man, this drone is awesome. So be prepared to see a lot more footage. I'm hoping I can get my hands on some more equipment, accessories sooner down the road. I have to get approval first from my wife and to spend more money. And we have yet to explore if there's any ND filters that will be coming out, because I really need them, because I'm so tired of moving. When you go into manual, and I shot the sunrise this morning, I had to literally move around with my manual settings, aperture and ISO settings and all that stuff, just to catch the direct sunlight into your stuff. So with an ND filter, it would be a little bit smoother, I believe. And it's I really like my ND filters on my Anafi, so they're definitely gonna make some. There's no doubt on it. But yeah, hey man, Autel Evo II Pro, it's the drone to go. I tell you that. You want to spend $2,000 on a drone, spend it on this bad boy. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed my video today. It was pretty much all about talking and stuff. I'm sorry about that, but hey, I just wanted to show you guys my first impressions about this. If this is the first time to my channel, please subscribe, please hit the bell. Any click, view, comment is much appreciated. Love you guys. Take it easy. Be safe out there. Don't forget, it's still COVID-19, so wear your mask, wash your hands, and be safe. Aloha, everybody. Bye.